There are wounds that never show on the skin, only in the quiet moments when the world finally goes silent, and you're left alone with the echoes of what happened. Maybe it was betrayal, maybe it was loss, maybe it was a kind of pain that no apology could fix. You survived it, but something inside you never came back the same. You laugh, but it feels practiced. You move on, but the past walked behind you. You wake up, but some part of you still dreams of the moment everything fell apart. The Stoics never promise a life without pain. They lived through exile, loss, illness, war. Marcus Aurelius buried 8 children. Seneca was forced to take his own life. Epictetus was born a slave. Yet they didn't collapse beneath their suffering. They turned it into strength, into clarity, into wisdom. They understood something most of us forget. That pain is not our enemy. It's our teacher. The goal is not to erase what happened. It's to rise above it, to transform it into something sacred. And that's what this journey is about. Healing not by forgetting your trauma, but by learning how to live peacefully with it. These are the 9 Stoic laws to heal from mental trauma. Not to harden your heart, but to open it again. This time, with wisdom. Healing is not about pretending the wound never happened. It's about learning how to live with it, calmly, wisely, and without letting define who you are. The Stoics never separated philosophy from real life. For them, wisdom wasn't theory, it was medicine. And the soul, like the body, needed care. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." That is a foundation of Stoic healing, realizing that even when the world takes everything from you, your peace is still yours to rebuild. Trauma changes how we see the world. It plants fear where trust used to live, and silence where laughter once grew. But Stoicism teaches us that no matter what has happened, our response remains our sacred power. You can't rewrite the past, but you can choose what meaning it will hold in your life. You can carry your suffering as a burden, or as a lesson. You can let it close you off, or let it open you into something deeper. In the next few moments, we'll explore 9 timeless Stoic laws, principles that don't erase pain, but teach you how to walk through it with grace, patience, and understanding. This isn't about becoming unfeeling. It's about learning to feel without falling apart, to remember the pain, but no longer be ruled by it. Law 1, the law of gentle acceptance. Don't fight reality, learn to breathe inside it. The first step in healing from mental trauma is not courage, it's acceptance. Not the kind that shrugs and gives up, but the kind that finally whispers, "This is what happened, and I survived it." Most people misunderstand acceptance. They think it means approval, as if accepting your pain means you agree with what was done to you. But Stoicism teaches something deeper. Acceptance is not surrender to the past. It's freedom from it. Epictetus said, "We suffer not from events, but from our judgment about them." When we resist what has already occurred, we live the same wound again and again, replaying the memory, arguing with reality, trying to change a moment that's already gone. Acceptance doesn't erase the scar. It stops you from reopening it. It's the moment you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What now?" The Stoics believe the universe is rational, that even pain can have a hidden order. This doesn't mean your trauma was meant to be. It means that, through it, you can become something meant to exist. Stronger, wiser, more aware. Healing begins when you stop resisting the truth of what happened and start embracing the truth of who you become because of it. So, when the memories come, don't fight them and don't feed them. Just breathe. Watch them pass, like clouds over a still lake. That's the essence of Stoic acceptance. Not forgetting, not forgiving too soon, but making peace with the fact that the storm came and that you are still here. Because what happened to you is real, but it is not you. You are the awareness that remains after the pain. And when you finally stop fighting reality, reality stops fighting back. Law 2, the law of emotional ownership. You cannot heal what you keep calling someone else's fault. One of the most difficult lessons the Stoics taught, and one of the most liberating, is that your emotions are yours, not in a way that blames you, but in a way that empowers you. When we go through trauma, We often become prisoners of emotional echoes, anger that keeps burning years later, fear that rises from shadows that no longer exist, sadness that arrives without invitation. The mind keeps replaying what happened as if reliving it might finally change the ending. But the Stoics would gently say, you can't heal while your emotions belong to the past. Marcus Aurelius wrote, external things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them. Erase the assessment and you erase the suffering. This doesn't mean you're to blame for your pain. It means that every time you let your emotions be dictated by what someone else did, you surrender your peace to them again. Healing begins when you reclaim ownership, when you decide, my mind is mine again. The Stoics believed emotions are natural. Fear, anger, grief, all are part of being human. But what makes us suffer endlessly is attachment to those emotions. They appear, but we hold them hostage. We identify with them. I am broken. I am angry. I am unworthy. Emotional ownership says, I feel broken, but I am not the feeling itself. You are the observer, the still point behind the storm. Try this. When anger rises, don't fight it. Watch it. Name it softly. This is anger. This is grief. This is fear. As you do, something remarkable happens. The emotion begins to lose its grip. Because what you observe with awareness, you no longer become. Epictetus compared emotions to guests. They knock on your door. You can welcome them, acknowledge them, even sit with them, but you don't have to let them move in forever. The modern world tells us to control our emotions. The Stoics never said that. They said to understand them, because control without understanding is repression, and repression only feeds a pain underground. So, take back your ownership, not by denying how you feel, but by realizing that your feelings are your response, not your identity. The event may have been forced upon you, but how you interpret it, that belongs to you, always. When you start seeing emotions as visitors, not captors, you create a sacred space within yourself. In that space, healing can finally enter. Imagine it. Your peace no longer dependent on apologies never spoken. Your worth no longer measured by those who hurt you. Your calm no longer borrowed from circumstance. That is emotional ownership, the silent, steady reclaiming of your inner world. So, when the next wave of emotion comes, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, this feeling is within me, but it is not me. I can witness it. I can learn from it. And when it's ready, I can let it go. That is not denial. That is mastery, the kind that Stoicism was built upon. The kind that doesn't silence emotions, but listens to them, honors them, and finally sets them free. Law 3, the law of perspective rebirth. You can't choose what you see, but you can choose how you see it. Trauma is not just an event, it's a lens. It changes the way you interpret the world. Suddenly, trust feels dangerous. Peace feels temporary. Every kindness hides a question mark. Will this one hurt me too? And yet, the Stoics believe that between the world and our soul lies a single power, perception. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Pain can distort those thoughts, painting the world in darker shades. But Stoicism reminds us, the event is not the story, your interpretation is. You can't always change what happened, but you can choose how much power you will give it today. Perspective is where pain becomes wisdom, when you decide to see through the wound, not with it. Most of us live like this. Something broke us, so we start seeing everything through the crack. The light gets in, but so does a fear. Stoicism teaches us to clean the lens, not to pretend it's spotless, but to understand that our vision shapes our reality. Imagine two people facing the same storm. One curses the sky, the other opens their hand to the rain and whispers, I will grow from this. The storm is the same, the difference is a perspective. Seneca once wrote, a gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Your pain is not proof of weakness. It's proof that you've lived, that you felt deeply, that your heart once opened fully to life. The goal is not to feel, it's to see differently, to reframe the experience. From I was ruined to I was reshaped. Trauma says, I lost everything. Perspective says, I lost illusions and found truth. The Stoics saw perspective not as denial, but as transformation. It doesn't mean pretending the fire didn't burn you. It means realizing that you emerge from it knowing where the flames are. To rebirth your perspective, you must start noticing your thoughts. When you say, nothing ever works out, ask, is that true, or is it the trauma speaking? When you think, I'll never trust again, ask, do I mean never, or do I mean I'm still healing? Awareness reshapes perception. Each question loosens a grip of the old story. Each act of mindfulness returns your vision to truth. Slowly, the world begins to look different, not because it changed, but because you did. You start noticing peace where chaos once screamed. You find beauty in imperfection, meaning in scars, calm in uncertainty. That's the rebirth of perspective, the point where trauma no longer decides what you see. You do. When that happens, your past stops being a prison. It becomes a teacher. And every time you look at your reflection, you no longer see the one who was hurt, but the one who learned to see clearly again. Law 4, the law of inner stillness. You can't heal in noise. You heal in stillness. After trauma, silence can feel terrifying. When everything goes quiet, the mind starts whispering, replaying scenes, asking questions that have no answers, creating noise from echoes of pain. That's why so many of us run from stillness. We stay busy. We scroll, talk, distract, wake, anything to keep from hearing the thoughts we buried. But the Stoics knew that healing requires stillness. Marcus Aurelius wrote daily in solitude, using silence as medicine. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when we stop reacting and start observing. Seneca called tranquility the highest form of strength. Stillness doesn't mean absence of thought. It means mastery of attention. It's the art of sitting with your mind long enough to see what it's really saying. After pain, your mind becomes a battlefield. Every sound feels sharp. Every memory pulls you backward. But Stoicism invites you to step off the battlefield, to stand still while the dust settles, and simply watch. Watch your thoughts come and go. Watch your fears rise and fall. Don't chase them. Don't fight them. Just watch. Because stillness reveals truth. When the noise fades, what remains is clarity, the quiet knowing that you are not your thoughts, not your memories, not your wounds. You are the awareness beneath them all. The Stoics practice what they called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. They imagined loss, pain, even death, so that when it came, they would remain calm. This wasn't pessimism, it was preparation. In the same way, when you sit in stillness with your pain, you are not surrendering to it. You are preparing yourself to meet it with calm strength. You are saying, I no longer fear this. I can sit with it and still be okay. Think of a lake. When the surface is disturbed, you can't see your reflection clearly. Only when the water becomes still does truth appear. Your mind is that lake. Stillness is how you see yourself again. Trauma tries to convince you that stillness means danger, that silence means the pain is coming back. But the Stoics teach us that silence is where we begin to heal the noise. Sit quietly, even for a few moments each day. Feel your breath. Watch your thoughts drift by. Let the storm rage outside, but stay unmoved within. Stillness doesn't make you emotionless. It makes you untouchable by chaos. And when you practice it long enough, the things that once screamed inside you begin to whisper, until one day, they simply fall silent that in that silence, you meet your true self again. Calm, whole, and finally free. Law 5, the law of compassionate detachment. Let go, not with bitterness, but with grace. Healing from trauma often feels like choosing between two impossible paths. Either hold on to what happened, or harden yourself so you'll never be hurt again. But both paths lead to suffering. Holding on chains you to the past. Hardening yourself turns you to stone. The Stoics offered a third way, compassionate detachment. It means letting go of what wounded you, not out of apathy, but out of love for your own peace. Epictetus said, when something happens, the only thing in your power is your attitude toward it. Detachment isn't rejection, it's reorientation. It's saying, I no longer give my inner life to think beyond my control. When you detach with compassion, you stop trying to rewrite the past or win the emotional war that can never be won. You release people not because they deserve peace, but because you do. Compassionate detachment is soft but strong. It doesn't deny emotion, it refines it. You can remember without reliving. You can forgive without forgetting. You can love people from a distance without letting them hurt you again. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." That's the Stoic paradox: full love, gentle detachment. This law asks you to stop fighting for closure from others and start creating closure within yourself. Closure isn't a conversation, it's a decision. You can say, "I still feel sadness, but I choose peace. I still wish it had been different, but I accept what is. I release the story, even if the ending still hurts." Detachment isn't about forgetting those who cause pain. It's about refusing to let their actions decide the quality of your soul. Think of your heart as an open hand. Holding too tightly causes pain. Letting go, gently, allows healing to breathe. Compassionate detachment reminds you that freedom doesn't mean not caring. It means caring without clinging. When you master that balance, pain loses its anchor. You no longer carry bitterness disguised as strength. You carry calmness born from understanding. And that's when you realize, letting go was never about losing something. It was about coming back to yourself. Law 6. The law of resilient meaning. Don't just endure your pain, evolve through it. The Stoics never glorified suffering. They didn't ask you to smile through it or pretend it's beautiful. But they did believe that nothing is wasted, not even pain. Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." When trauma strikes, it fractures the story of your life. Everything that once made sense suddenly feels meaningless. You start asking, why did this happen to me? Stoicism doesn't give an answer, it gives a direction. What will you do with what happened to you? That question is a doorway to meaning. To heal is not just to move on, it's to move through. And on the other side of that pain lies wisdom, compassion, patience, qualities that can't be taught in comfort. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal during war, plague, and loss, what stands in the way becomes a way. He didn't say that pain was good. He said that pain can be used. That's resilient meaning, the power to take what broke you and make it build you. Every scar can either stay a reminder of the wound or become proof of the recovery. You decide which story it tells. Ask yourself, how has this pain deepened my understanding of others? What strength did I discover only because I had no choice? What can my story teach someone still in the dark? Stoic healing is not about erasing the past. It's about rewriting the meaning of it. Trauma took your sense of control. Meaning gives it back. When you turn pain into purpose, the same memory that once haunted you becomes your reason to rise. The Stoics saw resilience not as cold endurance, but as creative transformation. They didn't endure life, they shaped it. You are not defined by what hurt you. You are defined by what you build from it. So, when the weight feels unbearable, whisper to yourself, this, too, can serve. Not because you wanted it, but because you refuse to let it be meaningless. That's the heart of resilient meaning. The alchemy of Stoicism, turning pain into strength, loss into wisdom, and survival into purpose. Law 7, the law of self-reverence. You survive what tried to erase you that is sacred. Trauma often leaves behind something quieter than pain, shame. A voice that whispers, maybe it was my fault, maybe I wasn't enough, maybe I deserved it. But the Stoics remind us, dignity is never lost, only forgotten. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength isn't just resilience, it's self-reverence, the quiet recognition that your existence itself carries worth. Stoicism teaches that virtue, not success, not approval, is a measure of value. And virtue lives inside you, untouched by what others did. When someone breaks your trust, insults your worth, or abandons you, they cannot take your virtue. They cannot touch the sacred part of you that thinks, chooses, endures, and loves. Epictetus was born a slave, beaten and humiliated. Yet he said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." His chains were external. His dignity was internal. That's the essence of self-reverence. To remember that your value does not depend on how others treated you. You are not what they did. You are what you choose to become despite it. Healing begins when you stop seeing yourself as damaged and start seeing yourself as sacred, not in arrogance, but in reverence. Reverence means speaking to yourself with respect. It means not letting your inner dialogue become your abuser's echo. It means rebuilding the temple of your self-worth, stone by stone, word by word. Tell yourself, I am not broken, I am rebuilding. I am not unworthy, I am rediscovering my value. I am not what happened, I am what I learned. The Stoics bowed to no man's cruelty because they bowed only to truth, and truth says your life, your spirit, your integrity are inviolable. So stand tall, even if your voice trembles. Move gently, but with honor. Treat your own soul as something divine entrusted to your care. That's not ego, that's reverence. And when you finally see yourself that way, the world can no longer convince you that you are less than whole. Law 8, the law of present wholeness. You are not living your past, you are living your response to it. After deep pain, the mind becomes a time traveler. It keeps returning to the moment everything fell apart. It replays, rewinds, and revisits, hoping that somehow, this time, the memory will change. But it never does. The Stoics understood this. They knew that suffering endures not because of what happened, but because of what we continue to feed in thought. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not dwell on the past, for it no longer concerns you." It's not indifference, it's mercy. Because every time you relive your pain, your body believes it's happening again. Your nervous system tightens, your heart races, your breath shortens. The Stoic path to healing is to return again and again to the now. The present is not where your trauma lives, it's where your recovery lives. When Epictetus spoke of freedom, he didn't mean escape from circumstance. He meant freedom from the tyranny of mental replay. It is not things that disturb us, he said, but our opinions about things. The mind wants to interpret the past until it feels safe again. But safety doesn't come from explanation, it comes from presence. Healing begins when you stop trying to edit the past and start living in a chapter that still is ink left to write. Ask yourself, what beauty still exists around me that I've stopped noticing? What strength am I practicing right now by simply continuing? What moment today might remind me that life still moves forward? The Stoics often practiced present immersion. They would notice the smallest things, the warmth of sunlight, the motion of breath, the sound of the city, as reminders that this moment is enough. You don't need to forget the past to heal. You just need to stop abandoning the present for it. Healing doesn't erase what hurt you. It integrates it into who you are now, without letting it define who you become. The Stoics found peace not by controlling time, but by anchoring in it. The past shaped you, yes, but this moment, right now, is the only place where you can choose what that shaping means. So, take a breath. Feel your heartbeat. This is life happening, and you are still in it. That's the law of present wholeness. You are not your memories. You are the miracle that survived them. Law 9, the law of gentle surrender. You cannot heal while fighting the past. Let it rest. There comes a point in every healing journey when strength no longer means holding on. It means letting go. Not the kind of letting go that forgets, but the kind that forgives reality for being what it is. The Stoics called this amor fati, the love of fate. Not resignation, but reconciliation. To love not just good days, but the necessary ones, even when they broke you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs." It's easy to resist this, to believe that what happened shouldn't have happened. But resistance chains you to what you're trying to escape. Acceptance sets you free. When you stop asking, "Why me?" and start whispering, "Even this," you begin to heal at the deepest level, not by forgetting the wound, but by removing its power to define you. Epictetus taught that peace comes not from changing events, but from changing our relationship to them. Seek not for things to happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do, and you shall have peace. This is not about passivity. It's about flow. Trauma freezes us in resistance. The body tenses, the mind clings, the spirit hardens. Surrender unfreezes that energy. It lets the heart breathe again. It says, "I will no longer fight what has already ended." The Stoics practice surrender as an act of courage. Because it takes bravery to stop controlling life and start trusting it. Every storm eventually becomes part of the sea's calm. Your storm, too, will settle when you stop trying to master the waves and learn to float. Surrender doesn't mean you agree with what happened. It means you finally allow peace to exist beside it. It means you can say, yes, it hurt, but I am still here. Yes, it broke me, but I have rebuilt. Yes, I lost something, but I did not lose myself. That's gentle surrender, not defeat, but deliverance. The Stoics didn't worship control. They worshipped harmony with nature, with time, with truth. And when you reach that place where you no longer need every answer, you will find that peace was never something to achieve. It was what remained when resistance finally ended. Healing is not about rewriting the story. It's about reading it with softer eyes. That's the law of gentle surrender. To stop fighting what already happened, and finally allow your soul to rest in the quiet grace of acceptance. You've carried this pain long enough. Now, let it teach you. You've walked through every Stoic law, from stillness and acceptance to resilience and surrender. You've seen that healing isn't a single act, but a philosophy, a way of meeting life as it comes, without losing yourself to it. The Stoics never promised a life without suffering. They promised that you could suffer without becoming bitter, that you could be wounded and still wise, broken and still beautiful. Each of these 9 laws is a return to your peace, to your dignity, to your presence, to the quiet strength that trauma tried to bury but never destroyed. Healing isn't about erasing your story. It's about finally becoming its author again. So, as you step back into your life, remember, stillness gives you clarity, acceptance gives you power, resilience gives you meaning, reverence gives you worth, surrender gives you peace. The Stoics didn't just teach philosophy, they taught alchemy, the art of turning pain into wisdom. You are that alchemy now. Take one law, practice it today. Speak gently to your mind. Forgive your body for surviving the way it did, and whisper to your soul, I am not my pain. I am the person who is learning from it. That's how Stoics healed, not by denying their wounds, but by honoring what those wounds made possible. You don't need to start over. You only need to begin right here, right now, as a person who finally understands. You have always been enough.